So we know we're a few weeks away from getting a clearer picture on who some of these teams' quarterbacks could be in the NFL based off of a weak draft class, right? We know Mendoza's going 1 to the Raiders. After that, could somebody surprise us and take Ty Simpson a lot sooner? Otherwise, it feels like he might be the only other quarterback taken in round 1. We know Trinidad Chambliss is coming back for another year in college football. So it sure looks like just a 2-quarterback first round. So if you're a free agent quarterback, this is not a bad year to be one, although there apparently is one preferred destination, Austin, because Jeremy Fowler over at ESPN hinted at that, which is, hey, if you're one of these free agent quarterbacks, everybody is intrigued by Minnesota. Kind of makes a lot of sense. Kevin O'Connell is one of the bright offensive mind coaches. Justin Jefferson is there. Look at the success that Sam Darnold was able to have there a couple years ago. And even last year in a disaster campaign from J.J. McCarthy and who was the rookie out of Minnesota, Max Brosner or whatever. They won 9 games under Kevin O'Connell. So the guy can coach. You got weapons there. The Vikings seem like they're willing to pivot to somebody. My question, though, is who's on the move actually? Because I'll start with Kyler Murray. And he was disappointing and hurt last year, and Jacoby Brissett actually looked better than he did in the Arizona system, but they have a brand new head coach and Mike LaFleur coming over from the Rams. I actually think Kyler Murray's not on the move. I believe Kyler Murray will end up staying, so that takes one of the bigger names off the table. I think Kyler ends up staying with the Arizona Cardinals. You know, Tua's going to be available, as it looks like Miami's probably going to move on from him with a brand new regime. So those are 2 of the more experienced names that I think are off the board.
Well, what's the alternative? What's the alternative if the Cardinals decide not to go with Kyler Murray? Like, I agree with you. I think Kyler Murray's setting up shop in Arizona for another year, if not a couple. But if you don't, well, where are you going? What, Tua, Kirk Cousins? I mean, like who else is better for you than Kyler Murray? Because Kyler Murray has shown flashes. It hasn't been consistent, but he's shown flashes. I just don't think that this is not the year to go out and try and sign a free agent quarterback, because you look at the list and it's a bunch of backups. And I mean, maybe you take a shot with Malik Willis, who looked good in his time in Green Bay, and him being paired up with a LaFleur and going from one LaFleur to another, I think would probably help him in his trajectory, because he's had a glow up. But other than that, I mean, like Davis Mills, Anthony Richardson, none of these guys jump off the page at you to be a starter in Arizona. So I almost feel like Arizona's best option is Kyler Murray, is it not?
I agree. We talked about even, Aaron Rodgers. Does he want to come back? And it seems like there's momentum that he would just go to Pittsburgh, for example. And so they'll stick with the aging veteran path. Yeah, it is not a good year to need a new quarterback in the NFL. And the Vikings, there's a reason why they're the most intriguing spot, as we pointed out. And there's another name that could potentially jump the line, like ahead of a Kirk Cousins or a Will Levis or a Jalen Milroe, if you think he actually has an opportunity. I think Malik Willis will actually get a starting gig next year, and my prediction is that it's actually in Miami. I think that's where he ends up, although if I were Pittsburgh, I would rather sign Malik Willis, and at least the ceiling potentially is higher. You already know where you're at with Aaron Rodgers. You're what you were this year. You're going to be a 9 or 10-win football team that's probably a one-and-done wild card round type of team. But what about Derek Carr? Derek Carr and his brother host a podcast, the Homegrown Podcast. Listen to this conversation they were having, where it sure sounds like Derek Carr wants back in.
Moral story, would I come back? The answer obviously is yes.
Good, okay, great.
But I have I had to say no a couple of times so far.
Yeah, Will, we know that. Do I have any purple and gold?
Go Lakers.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. It's Laker season.
That's right. I told you this. It hasn't changed from the first interview that we did.
Tell them.
Okay.
Tell the people.
All right. Would I do it? Yes. Would I do it for anybody? Absolutely not.
Nope, there's no way. I know from experience. In the last couple months, he would not. So stop calling unless you're serious. Unless you're trying to make a run at this thing.
Yeah.
Right? The confetti falling.
Listen.
The Lombardi in the sky. That's what we're after, okay?
Yeah.
That's what we're after.
So would I do it? Absolutely, I would do it. I told you 2 things. I'd have to be healthy, and I would want a chance to win a Super Bowl.
That's 2 pretty good factors.
Obviously, that's a tough thing to find. That's hard to do. That's not easy.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, I know you're healthy.
Great to hear that he's healthy. All right, that's awesome. But let's remember the criteria he just gave. Where's he landing? Minnesota is about it. And are they, if they were going to go the veteran quarterback route, why would Kevin O'Connell bring in soon to be 35-year-old Derek Carr that he has no connection to? Wouldn't you just bring in Kirk Cousins? Wouldn't you just bring Cousins back home if that's like the type of quarterback you're looking for? I don't think there's a landing spot. Maybe Pittsburgh, if Rodgers tells Mike McCarthy no. Derek Carr's not going to Miami because it doesn't fit the championship caliber criteria. But out of the championship caliber teams that might have an opening, and I don't even know if you consider Pittsburgh and Minnesota that's it. I don't think Derek Carr's playing for anybody unless we sit here in August and there's a key injury to a quarterback, or week 3, one of these playoff teams that feel like they got the roster to go win a championship, they find out their quarterback's done for the year, and they call up Derek Carr. He also has his rights still in New Orleans. Now, I think they have moved on with Tyler Shuck and everything, so they'll probably just let him walk for next to nothing. But I don't think Derek Carr has a landing spot.
If I'm the Vikings, though, I low-key love the idea of Derek Carr as my quarterback. And I think I'm in the minority here. I am a Derek Carr stan. It goes Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, and Nickelback. 3 things that I think get hated on for reasons that, unbeknownst to me, because I think they are better than people believe. I think that Derek Carr is one of the most underrated quarterbacks just based off of PR status alone. I would love, if I'm a Vikings fan, bring Derek Carr in. Look, you're right. You're not getting, it's not a long-term solution, but it buys you some time. And really all you need, like I would take a Derek Carr playoff season better than the J.J. McCarthy alternative that they were handled last year. And I mean, with J.J. McCarthy, it's not necessarily even about J.J. McCarthy's play. It's about his availability. Most of the time he's not able to stay on the field. So I think I would love to take a stab at Derek Carr because I think Derek Carr is the Jared Leto of quarterbacks. And I know I've been doing this thing where I compare quarterbacks to actors, but people forget that, yes, he made Morbius and Suicide Squad, and it's been bad lately, but people forget the Requiem for a Dream and, the Dallas Buyers Club earlier on in his career. Like, he has some good things on his resume that people tend to forget just based off of what they've gotten lately.
I just don't know why if it came down to Kevin O'Connell choosing J.J. McCarthy or Derek Carr, sure, I'm with you. I would rather have Derek Carr. But Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins, if you're going to go in that veteran QB path and play in that world, why am I choosing Derek Carr, who hasn't played in a year, over Kirk Cousins, who already has a relationship with me in Minnesota, already knows Justin Jefferson, knows the offense? I just don't know why I would choose him over Kirk Cousins in this scenario. Derek Carr also does turn 35, and I'll remind you, when he was playing back in 2024, he got hurt. We all know that. Played in 10 games, had 2,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But this offense in New Orleans looks better with Tyler Shuck than it did with him as a quarterback.
Well, yes, and he was dealing with some injury things there late, and I don't know. I would, I can't explain it, honestly. I can't explain why I like Derek Carr. He was close to there was a season there when he was with the Raiders where he was putting up MVP type season. And granted,
but he was 26 years old at that time.
Sure, he has aged quite a bit, but Kirk Cousins, I don't know if I'd want to go back to that Kirk Cousins. Well, we saw what Kirk Cousins was a little bit in Atlanta last year, and it wasn't anything too spicy. So if I'm going to take my shot at someone, I'd probably, personally, I would take my hand at a Derek Carr who has sat out a year and been healthy and not been bruised and battered for a year, given his body a chance to recover, than a Kirk Cousins who did show us what he is last year in Atlanta. I don't know. I don't know. And I think it's just a personal preference thing, but I think I still go with Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins in Minnesota.
I think it's the only place other than Pittsburgh that potentially would give him what he is wanting, which is a chance to go to the postseason, compete for a championship. I just don't know if any of these teams are as interested in him as he might be interested in them. And he joked about the
Sure.
purple and gold, and he joked about the Lakers. Obviously, they were talking about the Minnesota Vikings. He claims he has said no to a couple teams. I'd be fascinated to know what teams kind of reached out and poked around with his agent to see what kind of intrigue he would have with their particular franchises. I think this is one of those where you got to wait till post draft. Does somebody draft the quarterback surprisingly? We all like Ty Simpson. Where does he go? Does he go to Minnesota? Does he go to Pittsburgh? Do the Rams proactively draft Ty Simpson to prepare for Matthew Stafford's final year? I don't know. That plays a huge role in this. But the teams that need quarterbacks, I mean, the Falcons do because Michael Penix Jr. still come back from an injury. The Colts, I actually disagree. I know we have our list on our rundown that we put together and our producers put together. I don't think the Colts need a quarterback. I think it's clear it's going to be Daniel Jones. The minute they traded for Sauce Gardner, they decided to move on from 2 first-round picks, and they basically backed themselves in a corner. They're going to have to give an extension to Daniel Jones. He'll be their quarterback this year.
Well, but Daniel Jones, he's going to miss at least a portion of next season with his Achilles. No, so they do need.
I'm not so sure about
someone
that.
there. You think he's going to be back in time for Week 1?
I think there's a chance. Yeah.
Oh, wait, hang on. You cannot tell me that you are coming to me from Kansas City and you have more belief in Daniel Jones coming back from an Achilles injury than your own Patrick Mahomes coming back from a torn ACL. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be ready for Week 1, and you kind of scoffed at that idea.
Two different injuries.
Well, sure, but I guaranteed Patrick Mahomes would be back for Week 1, and you're like, nah, I don't think he is. But now you're telling me Daniel Jones with an Achilles, which I think is a worse injury to have than, especially when it comes time for explosiveness and things like that on a football field. You think that Daniel Jones, who has noticeably been a worse quarterback over the length of his career than Patrick Mahomes, has a better chance to come back than Patrick Mahomes?
Well, first of all, how bad they are as a quarterback has nothing to do with rehab and recovery. Like that, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is better than Daniel Jones, but that has nothing to do with going through the rehab process. And I did not say there's no chance Patrick Mahomes is ready Week 1. Let me clarify. I've been saying it for weeks here locally. I do radio in Kansas City. I have said I am not as confident as some people are that it's a sure thing. You talk to any Chiefs fan, they'll tell you, oh, yeah, there's no chance he misses Week 1. Look, he's going to do everything possible to be ready Week 1. I think there's a chance for sure. But nobody can definitively say that here in February. The Chiefs don't even definitively know. The timeline is ready for Week 1, and I do. I think there's a real chance. I also think there's a real chance, especially depending on how the schedule looks when it comes out in May, that he misses the first couple weeks of the season. Now, it's not going to be like, hey, he waits till Week 2. If he's ready Week 2, he's ready Week 1. I'm with you there. But Daniel Jones, the reports out of Indianapolis that he's supposed to be ready for training camp.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, I can guarantee it. I know the Chiefs won't. I know you won't. I will guarantee it. Patrick Mahomes is ready Week 1. He has some sort of voodoo magic about him where injuries don't affect him. It's like on Madden, he has an injury turned down to 0, and he just somehow is able to make it back. He'll be fine. The Colts, however, I don't think they are fine because even if, let's say Daniel Jones does come back for Week 1, you have to have a backup quarterback. And I think the Anthony Richardson ship has sailed in Indianapolis. So
Agreed.
They are, in a sense, in the market for a quarterback. And look, unless that Achilles holds up, it could be what turns into a starting quarterback in Indy.
So, I'm not sold that, Daniel Jones is going to go out there and put up crazy numbers again the way he did it. And yes, I understand that Jones is technically a free agent, but if you're Daniel Jones, why would you consider signing anywhere else anyway? Like, again, what I'm saying is when they traded their first round picks for Sauce Gardner, they committed to Daniel Jones that day. And I get how the season went. They were 7-1 when they made the Sauce Gardner trade. They were trending in a bad direction even before the Daniel Jones injury because teams started to get a little bit of a feel of what they're trying to do with Shane Steichen and company. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that, I would be shocked. Sitting here, I would be shocked if Daniel Jones does not get an extension this offseason from the Indianapolis Colts. Again, we just got done talking about the available quarterbacks. Who else? Where else are they going, guys?
No,
where else
and
are the Colts
I think
going
they should
for a quarterback?
I think they should. I think Daniel Jones is one of those quarterbacks who benefited from a change of scenery, and he got into a place that works, and Shane Steichen has done a fantastic job with him and that offense, and when you've got a great running back like the Colts have, I think that he's in a good spot. I think Daniel Jones, I think he will be, but again, And Achilles is no joke. The time frame of which he can come back, if he can be back by week 1, I think you still need to have, because in my opinion, I don't think teams invest enough on backup quarterbacks. You saw firsthand in Kansas City when Patrick Mahomes left, it was already a struggling offense when he went down, but it was anemic after he left. So I feel like teams need to invest more in or at least focus more. Like, we focus so much on the quarterback position as at the starter level, but after that, it just drops off. Tennessee Titans are one example. You got Cam Ward and then Brandon Allen as your backup last season. And they saw the same thing. The one game that Cam Ward missed the final week of the season got blown out because they couldn't do anything offensively when Brandon Allen took over. Teams don't invest enough in their backup quarterback.
I don't disagree with that. I would say, yeah, you're right. The Chiefs' offense. I remember Gardner Minshew was the backup, but then he got hurt his first drive of the game in which he was supposed to be the backup. He had a knee injury. But Mac Jones is the prime example of what you're saying. Look what Mac Jones did when Brock Purdy was unavailable.
Yes.
And I know the 49ers right now publicly are saying, we're not trading Mac Jones. He's under contract. We like him. And it is nice to have that security blanket. I still think that's a bit of a leverage play. I mean, if somebody offers them a pretty impressive compensation package and believes in Mac Jones, I don't think they would say no. But there's an immense amount of value if you're the Niners, who have a huge track record, a long track record, I should say, of injuries at the quarterback spot and otherwise, with the electrical substation rumors and all that crap that's going on out there in the Bay Area. Maybe they do hold on to Mac Jones. So we'll see. It won't be the last time we talk about QB Carousel this offseason as we head into the month of March.